Hey guys, welcome to Unwind Wednesday. I'm Kayla and I'm so happy you're here. I'll be your teacher for today, leading you through some foundational Pilates work mixed with a few intermediate exercises, and we'll use some accessories as well. For today, I have my exercise ball here and my magic circle. However, these are optional, so don't worry if you don't have these at home. No worries, we'll be able to do some modifications there. But first, I want to say I'm so sorry that I missed you guys last week. Obviously, there was a lot of things happening in America here. Tuesday was election day, and then Thursday I actually had an exam that I had to take, and so happy to be back on this Wednesday where we'll do our meditation, and then as I mentioned, going into some of the exercises. I'm going to keep today's session nice and brief. We're going to take everything slow, and so as you're doing your breathing, as you're working through each exercise, make sure that you're focused on your breath, control, precision, flow, and concentration. What are those 5? The principles of Pilates. You guessed it. After a few classes, we're getting it, right? So I'm excited for today's session. It's going to be great. Really good in the body, taking everything nice and slow, really emphasizing the stretching. I know for me, a little sore from my leg workout I did earlier in the week, and my arms are a little stiff as well. So we're gonna take everything nice and slow with some stretching at the end. But first, we are going to get started with our meditation. So feel free to come into a seated position. And for today, how about I give you some options? You can come into a seated position with your legs crisscrossed, just like I'm doing here. Sit up nice and tall, bring the back of your hands onto your each knee, or you can also go into lying position on your back, supine position, extend your legs out on your mat, and no matter which position you choose today or posture, close your eyes and let's get started for our sound bowl meditation. Take a deep inhale, filling your lungs for 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1, exhale. Let all that air out through your mouth here. And as you're breathing, feel your spine melt to the carriage. Inhale for 5 seconds. As you exhale, feel your spine come down onto your mat, melting down. Inhale, controlled exhale. Let out everything from the day, the week, and focus on your breath here. Finding the tune within your body, letting your mind come to an ease, hearing the train in the background. City living, it's a beautiful thing. Inhale once more. Exhale, let all of that air out. Let's do just one more breath actually. As you inhale, feel your shoulders get nice and wide, your posture is straight. And then as you exhale, keep those shoulders up, keeping your ribs nice and wide, sitting up tall here. As we go into our practice for today, remember those Pilates principles. Stay focused and be gracious to yourself. Awesome. Let's get started. If you're in seated position, turn over into all fours. And if you're on your back as well, let's come all the way up. Move our accessories here. And we're going to start on all fours, just like that. Palms are into your mat, knees are grounded as well, gaze is down on your mat. Let's begin. Hold here and then push yourself back into a child's pose position, stretching your arms out in front of you on your mat, hands pressing down. Feet are together at the back, and you're just staying in this position for a nice stretch. And when you're ready, come up, back onto all fours. Knees are at the edges of your mat. And then we're going to lift our left arm up toward the ceiling and thread it right underneath your right arm and press down gently into your shoulder for a stretch here. Take your breath, exhale, unravel the left arm. You're going to place the left hand back onto your mat, shake it out if you need to. Take the right hand toward the ceiling, twist your body up toward the right, and then thread it underneath the left arm and bringing your right shoulder down onto your mat. Now here I am kind of rolling out my ankles in the back. They're a little crackly today, so choose to do so if you need to as well. And then untwist the right arm, hand comes to the ceiling, and then place your hands back. You're on all fours on your mat. And then push yourself back into a child's pose stretch once again. Taking a deep inhale and exhale, feeling really rounded in your spine, pushing your hands out gently towards the front of your mat if needed, and then exhale, come all the way up, back on all fours, and then we're going to roll over onto our backs. Once you're there, bring your legs into a tabletop position and windshield wipe your legs side to side, keeping them together. Now, I brought my head off the mat into almost a Pilates curl, but you don't have to do this. There I am gently laying my head down. So the curl is totally optional. And just stretching out our spine here. Once you're ready, extend your legs out across the mat, flex your toes back towards you, hands are pressing into the mat. And then you want to bring your hands up toward the ceiling, tuck your chin towards your chest, and round forward for our first roll up here. You saw that was a little tough for me, still very sore. And reaching down for the toes just a smidge. Exhale, you're going to keep that chin tucked as you round down one vertebra at a time, coming onto your back. We're going to keep going here for our roll-ups. You want to make sure that you're really rounding in the spine each time you're coming all the way to seated position, keeping that chin tucked, using your abdominals to round up and down, up and down. Keep them contracted, especially as you're exhaling. As you're reaching down for your toes, see if you can hold the stretch a little bit longer each time, just giving yourself a few seconds to really stretch out your back leg. I know for me, having done a leg day a couple days ago, still very sore, this felt so nice. Nice job. Keep going, keep going. You're almost there to the next exercise. Make sure you're breathing the entire time, taking those deep inhales and deep exhales. Round back, tucking the belly button first, and come all the way down onto your mat. Nice job on the roll-ups. I know that those aren't easy, so great job. Bring the legs in and let's windshield wipe side to side. Let's bring our legs up into a tabletop position, legs squeezed together. Bring your hands to the ceiling. Inhale, come up into your Pilates curl. Exhale, lower all the way down. As you can tell, we are doing our prep for 100. Let's do that again. This time, bring the hands down toward the mat. Exhale, bring the hands back up toward the ceiling. Inhale, round all the way. Bring your hands over your mat and begin to pump your hands. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. You want to maintain your breath here the entire time. Inhaling for 5 seconds, exhaling for 5 seconds. Really try to stay rounded in the shoulders, coming up almost to your shoulder blades and maintaining your breath. Legs squeeze together the entire time here. Nice job. I know you're working hard on your 100. Here's an optional challenge. Keep those legs squeezed together and extend them out toward the ceiling. Otherwise, you can stay in tabletop position. Just keep squeezing the core, staying engaged, and keeping that tailbone heavy to your mat the entire time. Nice job. Keep going here. We're working hard, getting stronger. And lower your head all the way down. Let's take a deep breath. Keep your legs up in tabletop position. And then we're going to extend the left leg out. Bring the left hand to the inside of your knee. Right hand comes towards your shin. Roll out your ankles if you need to. And let's switch. Gently pulling in the knee towards your chest each time you're switching. Getting a nice stretch in the leg here. Head is down the entire time. As you're switching out the legs, again, go ahead and rotate the ankles and then come up into your Pilates curl, bringing your tips of your shoulder blades off the mat here. And you want to keep switching legs, holding it on each leg as long as you need to, and make sure you're doing enough on each side to stay balanced. Extend the legs out, place them down on your mat, and roll your head all the way down. From here, let's go into another roll up, bringing the hands toward the ceiling. Curl your chin towards your chest, squeeze through the abdominals to come all the way to the top of your mat, and dive down for your toes for a stretch. Hold it at the bottom for a little bit, and then come up into a nice tall seated position. From here, we're going to go into spine stretch forward, pushing our hands out and then coming up nice and tall into a seated position, keeping your posture straight. You're drawing up the ribs, coming up to the center, sitting up nice and tall, keeping the hips engaged as well here. You want to maintain your breath, almost like you're sliding that invisible piece of paper across the table, pushing out, but keeping those arms up and elevated. Exhale as you come up, and then tuck the belly button and round all the way down onto your mat. Take an inhale and bring your knees back up into a tabletop position. Come up into your Pilates curl. Extend the legs out long and then bring your right leg in towards you, and you're going to switch between legs, pulsing the knee in towards you, nose to knee, each time maintaining your breath. Inhale, exhale as you switch. You're really trying to engage the legs, stretching them out nice and long here. You can add a pulse, but I know I just wanted to maintain a deeper stretch. I'm going to grab my exercise ball. If you don't have one, that's okay. You can maintain the stretch just like that, or do like I'm doing here, where I'm circling the ball underneath each leg, still maintaining my scissor kicks. You're staying up in your Pilates curl, keeping the core engaged here, and lowering and lifting each leg, one at a time, maintaining your breath. Inhale, exhale as you switch. Good. And lower your head all the way down. Hold on to that ball. We're not quite done with it. Taking a nice deep breath here, and then bring the legs back up and place that ball right in between your ankles. From here, you have the option to place your hands behind your head, or you can place them right underneath the tailbone here. With your feet up, we're going to go lower down toward the mat. Exhale as you lift. Pulse at the top. Yes, we're adding some pulses here. So pulse at the top, bringing the ankles in toward the ball for 3, 2, 1. Lower the feet down. You see how I'm keeping my feet hovered? As you lower your feet, try not to let the heels tap that mat. You want to use your core to lift your feet all the way to the top, adding the pulse once you get to the top. Now here we're going to reverse, bring them all the way up, lower, pulse at the bottom, and lift the feet. Good. Squeezing through the core. Lower, squeeze at the bottom, pulsing, and lift. And then bend your knees in, grab the ball, you can remove it. Nice job. That's a thumbs up for everyone for doing such a great job here, keeping the core engaged. We're taking these nice and slow, finding a good flow. Place your ball off to the side, and then windshield wipe your legs side to side here. Come up into your Pilates curl. Bring your legs back into tabletop position. Legs squeeze together, hands come up towards your shins. Inhale and exhale. Exhale as you go out into a T position, legs still squeeze together. You're coming all the way in, sweeping arms in, knees in. Exhale to go out into that T position, extending your arms out. Legs go out toward the end of your mat here. You're keeping the core engaged. And then let's grab the ball one more time, and we're going to maintain that ball position in between the ankles and adding pulses as you extend the legs all the way out in that T position. Exhale as you sweep everything in, knees come toward the chest, hands go toward the shins. Exhale as you go out into the T, pulse on the ball. Exhale, bring everything in. Stay up in your Pilates curl here, tailbone remains heavy. We're almost there, Nice job. And you can grab the exercise ball, take it out, and bring your head down on the mat. Windshield wipe those legs side to side. Stretch all that out. Hands come back down onto your mat. Bring your heels to about the edges. Feet are flexed up. Hands go up toward the ceiling. You know what's coming. A roll up. Tuck the chin. Squeeze through the core to come all the way to the top and dive for your toes for a stretch. Hold at the bottom gently. Pulling on your toes just a little bit there, and then round back, tucking that tailbone back first, and then chin is toward the chest as you come down onto your mat. Head goes on. Keep your hands up toward the ceiling. The goal with these roll-ups is to keep the core engaged the entire time. You want to maintain what's called that C curve in your spine to really round back and forward, strengthening your core here. Nice job on the roll-ups. I know you're killing it. From here, hands go down onto your mat. You can stretch out your legs, kind of roll out your ankles. And then I needed to scoot up on my mat a little bit. You may need to as well if you need a little bit room, because we are preparing to go overhead. Now pause here. If it's not comfortable for you, let's do a modification or take a deep breath here. Otherwise, feet come toward the ceiling, legs spread apart. You're lifting through the hands, lifting the hips up and letting the feet come overhead, and then slowly rolling down one vertebra at a time. Now I needed to scoot up one more time. Clearly I needed a little bit of room. So pause and then watch this one for another example. So feet come up, they're spread apart, and you're pushing out of the hands, bringing the feet overhead. Last time I lifted my hips. If that's not comfortable for you, you don't need to do so. It's just an extra abdominal challenge. But the goal here is to keep those feet spread apart, and you're gonna lift just gently to where you can bring your legs overhead. I like to really stretch out my spine here, so hold for maybe a second or two once your feet are overhead. I also add a challenge by tapping my toes on the ground behind me. So tailbone is heavy, and then you lift, squeeze through the core. You're staying on your shoulders. You're not pushing out of your head, staying on the shoulders. Exhale as you roll all the way down onto your mat. Now this is an example of me holding it because I just felt so good in my back. Take this how you need to, and then place your feet down. Hands go out to side to side, and let's windshield wipe our knees. Nice job. We're almost there. I know this has been a great Unwind Wednesday, at least for me so far. I hope the same for you. Lots of good stretching in these exercises, but also lots of good core engagement where we're strengthening it. So feet come out to the sides of your mat. Hands go up to the ceiling. Inhale, roll up, one vertebra at a time, coming into a nice tall seated position this time. Good job. Let's turn over onto our stomach now. And so we're going to extend our legs out long. I needed to stretch it out a little bit here. So if you need to do the same with your hips, by all means. But we are going to go into a lying position, prone position. Arms are out just like mine, where their elbows are bent in towards me. Toes are extended out, and we're going into a lift. This is called swan. Inhale to prepare. Lift your chest off your mat. Now keep your neck long here. That's one of the key components to getting the maximum spinal extension here. You want to keep your neck long, lifting out of your chest. Exhale as you go all the way down. One way to check is looking in the mirror, or maybe even recording yourself to see, is my neck creasing at all? Are there any, bumps back there? We want to keep our necks long and straight the entire time as we're doing these swans. Keep the toes extended and pointed as much as possible, and then come all the way down onto your mat. I'm just kind of shaking out my legs. That's an optional thing that you can do, kind of bending my knees in. And then from here, I want you to push yourself up into a plank position. And we're squeezing through the core here to stay up. And we're just going to count down just a few seconds here for a hold. Maintain your breath. Keep the hips down, shoulders wide, and then come down onto your knees. Nice job, nice job. Push yourself back into a child's pose for a stretch. And let's come back all the way up into a plank position one more time. From here, we're kicking each leg up, keeping the toes flexed, staying in that plank position where our hips are down, and you're lifting each leg through the glutes, squeezing it as you lift, one at a time, trying to draw up through the heels, lifting them as high as you can, and maintain your breath control here. Inhale and exhale as you switch. And look. Lower all the way down onto your knees and push yourself back into child's pose with your heels squeezed together, or your toes squeezed together actually, and just gently pushing out through the hands, and then come and sit at the center of your mat. And we're gonna go into some hip mobility stretching. Kind of roll your shoulders out if you need to. Now first, we're gonna sit and bring our knees into 90-degree angles. I like to keep my hands in front for control, and we're just going side to side, kind of like wide windshield wipers, but trying to bring each knee on the inside, going back and forth. And then scoot back a little from your mat, grab an accessory, a ball if you have one, totally optional. And then from here, point your toe, and we're gonna lift our leg right on over whatever you might have grabbed, or make sure that you're just having your foot hovered in the air a few inches. And then switch legs. This is really, really great for hip mobility. I love this exercise here. Remove your accessory, place it off to the side here, and we're gonna come onto our mat, and let's push ourselves back into a downward facing dog. Pedal your feet out for a deeper stretch, getting your calves loosen, your tendons, and then lift your left leg back. You're gonna bring the left knee in towards your chest, and scooting yourself forward, push back again, and then bring your knee all the way in and twist it toward the side for a pigeon pose. There's two variations for this. On this variation I'm doing today, I'm gonna stay up, trying to stay nice and tall here. If you wanna go into a lower position where you're bringing your elbows down to the mat, that stretches a deeper part in the glute. But for today, I'm gonna do more of a hip flexor stretch. Come up, and then we're gonna switch legs. Same thing, down facing dog, extend the right leg, bring the knee in towards your chest, push out, and then you're gonna bring it all the way forward, wrapping the right knee around. Again, I'm staying up nice and tall, but option, if you are one of the yogis, you know what I'm talking about, you can bring your elbows onto your mat for a stretch. Otherwise, just stay up nice and tall here and enjoy this hip flexor stretch. And then let's push ourselves all the way up to one last downward facing dog, and then come to the center of our mat, bringing our knees out as wide as possible. We're grounded in our elbows and just deepening the stretch in the midline of our body here. Stretching the inner hip flexors. I know this felt really good for me as well. Just shaking out our day, maintaining our breath, thinking about what we're gonna eat after this. I have some cinnamon applesauce in the fridge, and I know that's gonna taste real good after this. Push yourself up into a side lunge, and again, stretching out the right side. From here, switch opposite side, going to the left now. Now come down, back onto your mat, and bring your legs out wide. And then let's take our hands, and we're gonna reach down center for each toe. Hold this stretch as long as it's comfortable for you. Now, I'm gonna grab my magic circle. This is totally optional. I like to have this on hand. I'll watch Netflix literally while doing this. It's a really great stretch using this accessory to kind of deepen the hamstring stretch here. I'll lay on my forearm just like I'm doing so, and then extend my leg out long, gently pulling on the magic circle towards me. If you're one of my reformer students, you know that I love a good magic circle as a warm-up. Here, I'm lowering my leg toward the mat and lifting, and then you can take it off. Here's an option. If you don't have a magic circle, use your hand. Still on your forearm, use your hand, gently controlling the motion and just gently pulling towards you here. Now let's turn over onto the opposite side. What we do on one side, y'all already know. We do it on the other. I'm using the magic circle again, but like I said, with the other variation, you can just use your hand and gently pull towards you, leaning into your forearm, keeping a nice grip onto your magic circle and gently pulling it towards you to deepen your stretch here. I'm like, woo, this feels good, because it certainly does. Take off your magic circle if you had one, and I want everyone to come up into a seated position on your mat. Crisscross your legs here. And grab over your right arm, reach it over to your left side, and with the left arm, wrap it right around under like I've done here, gently pulling the arm in toward you for a stretch. Roll out your neck clockwise and then counterclockwise, stretching everything out. And then let's pull the arm behind us for a tricep stretch here. So with the left hand, it's coming towards the right elbow, and you're just gently pulling the elbow back for a deeper stretch. And then let's switch arms. Wrap the left arm right in front. Right hand comes to the left wrist. Roll out the neck one more time. Stretching is such a key component to keeping our muscles nice and loose. Let's switch, bringing the left elbow back. Right hand comes to the left elbow. I know I'm trying to get more stretching in my day-to-day, so I encourage you all to as well outside of Unwind Wednesdays. Bring your hands down, and then with the right hand, it's going to come up toward the ceiling, and then the left hand is on your mat. Gently reach over to your left side, and then exhale, come all the way to center. Bring your left hand up toward the ceiling and reach over toward the right, lengthening through that side body on each side. Exhale, come all the way to center. Roll the shoulders back, and then roll them forward. Nice job for Unwind Wednesday. Thank you all for joining me.